did some theater work. And all types of. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? What did you do there, and what kind of tips would you have for somebody who wants to get into theater work?
Okay. Yeah, I've just started doing the performing arts centers. That's something that I've recently been getting into, and I'm creating a show called Magic, Motion, and Mischief, which is hopefully will get into a touring mode for the performing arts centers. There is a really great book out there on booking performing arts center shows. I think it's called How to Book Performing Arts Center Shows. Excuse me. And it's really good at just there's a certain timeline that performing arts centers work with. Every industry has their own timeline as far as what they need for promo, when they need it by, and the typical thing is you want to send out your brochure and your DVD package or whatever to prospective theaters. You got to make sure you follow up with them. Send it out enough in advance, because usually a lot of times programming for theaters is done almost a year in advance, sometimes 2 years in advance with the theaters. I've talked to theaters like, oh yeah, sounds interesting, but we're only booking our 2015 season now. So it seems like theaters just are a longer term project. Like, it's not going to happen where fairs book typically 6 months out. Cruise ships will book sometimes a week out. Where it's like, what are you doing next week? We're going to send you out. It's like, okay. Theaters seem much more advanced because they have regular patrons, they have subscribers, they have their season book that goes out for the year, happens, at the beginning of their season. So they typically will book their acts a year and a half, 2 years out. So you're going to make it a long-term plan, make contact, go to the theater if you can, unless it's really out of the way to go to. But I think a personal meeting with the people, to sit down with them and talk about options, is really viable to help book those series there. The other thing with the theaters is there's organizations out there that book theater shows and will book what's called a community concert series. Excuse me. And in Florida, even, like, there's a big retirement community where people are having these gated communities with beautiful theaters being built into them. And there are people who organize tours of those areas. So you need to find out who the organizer is of these community concert series, get in touch with them a year, sometimes 2 years in advance, and try to just network with them like you would do your normal networking, but just longer term.